Namaste, everyone, and welcome. Good evening to all of you. We are in the second week of our IKS Storytelling National Online Certificate course. And I'm sure that all of you are also wondering in some way or the other that uh, this is already the third last session. We have two more sessions to go. So today's original plan was Dr. Pradyuman sir would be taking the session on Betal Pachisi, but because of some commitment at his end, he will be doing his session tomorrow, and I will be doing the session on storytelling from Eastern Central Gujarat today. So once again, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome all of you to this certificate course. Most of you who have joined today have been with us very regularly and sincerely through all the sessions in the course. So I think this is wonderful. And I wish that in these last couple of sessions that we managed to engage in fruitful interactions, discussions, and also exchange very relevant insights on the storytelling culture in Bharat. I once again thank our collaborating institution, the BRB College of Commerce, and their organizing team for the support that they have extended throughout this certificate course. And we hope that all of you have gained very useful insights on storytelling through all the different sessions that we have had. And let's continue this tradition. So I just want to bring your attention to the fact that on the last day, the final day of the course, I will be sharing a feedback form which all participants are requested to fill. That will facilitate the distribution, sharing of certificates from the end of the organizing team at NLD. And l- like in all sessions, we have used the chat box for discussion, comments, and interaction. Let's continue to do that even today. So, in today's session, uh, it's not a very traditional lecture that I'm going to deliver, but this is more of a sharing session that I intend to undertake, or as I have planned, on my own exploration of the oral storytelling tradition of the Rathwas of Eastern Central Gujarat. And before I dive into the presentation, I will definitely give some backdrop to the project that I undertook. But I want all of us to kind of revise and recap the important points that we have shared with respect to Bharatiya storytelling. So, can some of you quickly put in the chat box what are some key aspects about Bharatiya storytelling that all of us managed to learn from the past 7 sessions? You can type quick responses in the chat box, or if anybody wants to quickly unmute and share, you can also do so. What did you learn about Bharatiya storytelling from the previous sessions? Any quick responses? You can just type it in the chat box. I will wait for your responses. What are your takeaways from the previous sessions? If anybody can take the lead and respond to this question.
Good evening, ma'am. May I?
Yes, Shwetaji, please go ahead.
Uh, yes, ma'am. The oral tradition and the key aspects that I have learned about Bharatiya storytelling, it is that it is mostly based on oral tradition and transmission. The Sruti part, which I think so, I don't remember who spoke, but yes. Then it is morely focused on didactical way and on moral focus. And mostly it has the, as we spoke about, it has the structure of a nice story, the way it begins, ends, and all that. It keeps us very engaged, and for transcendence also it is used. And then we have too much of allegory and mythology involved. And also, as Sir spoke about interwoven or plot in plot stories also. And most about the ones which I liked were the visual aids and puppetry.
Yes, that's
Yes, ma'am.
nice. Very nice.
Mm. Yes, ma'am. And the final one would be last two. The major one was the regional diversity which exists, as you spoke. And the
Hmm.
final one, ma'am, because we have diversity, my last focus would be, this is from my side. It is the where we are very adaptable, ma'am.
Hmm. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, so
It's
our
the
stories are fluid, they are dynamic, they're engaging. There are multiple interpretations possible. There are plots and subplots. And as Swayamji has rightly shared in the chat box, our storytelling traditions focus on moral and philosophical points of view. So we started this course with understanding and appreciating the value of the oral tradition that Bharat has inherited, where we are sharing our stories, ideas, worldviews, thoughts, beliefs, cultures by word of mouth. So, this can involve sharing poetry, sharing songs, and this is a way in which we talk about our culture, our history, our tradition and ideas to some with somebody else, or even amongst our own people. So stories are something that help us to explain our world to our own next generation, as well as somebody who is not part of our culture and our tradition. And in the other sessions that we focused on, there were so many aspects of storytelling that got that got explored. So committed to the Shruti Smrti Parampara, the specificity and the precision in our stories, oral dissemination. And these are not just characteristics of storytelling specifically, but these are also characteristics of Bharatiya civilization. And then we also managed to see a wide range of examples of stories from our epics, from our scriptures, in different parts of the country. We talked about storytelling through music, storytelling through dance, modern day storytelling, storytelling through paintings, architecture, temple carvings, etc. And then in between, we shifted our focus to the Mahabharata, its structure, Smrti, and hermeneutic tradition. We also talked about Yoga Darshan and the stories that it contains and the values that it imparts. We also spoke of the Shruti Smrti Parampara and its connection with modern day storytelling in television, cinema, and OTT platforms. And in yesterday's session, Dr. Pinku took us through the uh, uh, performative narrative retellings, literary retellings of the Mahabharata, and we had an engaging discussion about the same. So, yes, of course, YMG is saying that it is also for entertainment. Yes, stories serve multiple purposes in a civilization like Bharat. They serve a moral purpose, a philosophical, a civilizational purpose, but they're also for leisure and entertainment. So, the sharing that I am going to engage in today is based on field work that I had the opportunity to carry out in the central eastern belt of Gujarat, which is 100 kilometers from where I stay. And this project was awarded to me by the Center for Indigenous Knowledge Systems, Anadi Foundation, which is located in Palani, Tamil Nadu, in the year 2024. And I will take you through the website of Anadi Foundation after I'm done with my presentation. So, this is a backdrop that I wanted to share, that this was a project that was carried out with support from an institution that invests and is interested in research in Indian knowledge systems, in indigenous traditions. And I was part of a cohort of seven individuals. Each individual was researching on different aspects of Indian knowledge system. For example, one of my cohort members was researching on Paninian grammar. Another was researching on the use of Indian knowledge systems in gaming technology. So it became a very fruitful exercise, because when there is a group of people coming together and all of you are exploring indigenous traditions, then the exchange and the interaction that happens enriches your own understanding about the project that you're trying to explore. With this little backdrop, let's dive into the presentation. And even though I am going to speak on a very peculiar tribe and their storytelling culture in the state of Gujarat, I wish and I hope that all of us here who come from different parts of the country will appreciate this particular storytelling tradition, and will also try to uh, kind of examine and understand what are the local storytelling traditions from your part that you can work with, especially if you're interested in a field project and if you want to meet communities which participate in storytelling, which own storytelling as a heritage, which are who are the custodians of storytelling. So let's start. Since when I put on my slideshow, I will not be able to see the screen, but what I can do is in between, I can come back to the meeting and interact. So today we will be talking about the Gayana tradition, which is the oral storytelling tradition of the Rathwa community of eastern central Gujarat. So this is something that we have covered. So before we actually dive into the storytelling tradition of this community, I want to give a brief backdrop about this tribe, which is an important constituent of the tribal population of the state of Gujarat. So, as per the Tribal Development Department of the government of Gujarat, 14.8% of the state's population is tribal, and this population majorly resides in the 14 eastern districts of Gujarat. There are many tribes, but there are particularly some tribes which are very, very vulnerable. If you look at the topography and geography of Gujarat, we have districts like Surat, Vadodara, Panchmahal, Sabarkantha, Banaskantha, Chota Udaipur. These are districts where tribal population is concentrated, and the region where I engaged in field work was the Chota Udaipur district. And this particular district comprises of tribes such as the Kolis, Siddhis, Rabaris, Bhils, Ahirs, Bharwads, Rathwas, Gamits, Dodiyas, Bardas, and Wasavas. So, if we try to understand a little bit about the Rathwa tribe, whose storytelling tradition I'm going to talk about, they are widely known for their rich culture and colorful traditions. I will also be showing some pictures and videos from my fieldwork. They live a very simple life. They are closer to nature. As we know, the tribals or the Adivasis or Vanavasis, and the term Vanavasi is very interesting because those who reside in the forests, those who reside closer to nature. So the Rathwas also live with nature, and they are not just native to the state of Gujarat. You can also find them in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. And their origins can be traced to the Tendla area of southern Malwa and the hilly area of the Vindhyachal range, right up to the river Narmada. So, this area that they reside in is called the Rat area, the Rat Bistar or the Rat Pradesh, which means it is a region which is abundant with trees, forests, and it has hills as well. So, how does the tribe get its name? Rathwa. So, the Rat Bistar or the Rat Pradesh, the area where this tribe resides, the Rat Pradesh or the Rat Bistar, they get the name of their tribe from this region. And like all other tribal communities, they have a very rich culture. Even amongst the tribal community, their traditions are diverse. And one of the core aspects of their existence is that they live with nature. They live in harmony with nature. They live close to nature. And therefore, nature becomes a very, very important element in their storytelling traditions, as we will see in the next slides. So, some areas where this community lives is the Alirajpur, Jobat, Bhabra region. In Chota Udaipur, you will find this tribe living in Kawat, Pavijetpur, Chota Udaipur, and these areas. Okay. So, to understand the art and culture of the Rathwa community, before we understand their storytelling traditions. So, some of these photographs are ones which I have clicked as part of my field work. So, this photograph is from a very well known fair, Mela, which happens every year after after the festival of Holi in the Kawant town in Chota Udaipur district, and it is called Gairno Meadow, the Gair Fair. And you can see the colorful attire of the Rathwa community. On this side, you can see that there is a particular ritual ongoing in one of the respondents' house that I visited in Jamli village in Chota Udaipur. So I clicked the photo of the ritual. Uh, this photo on the top bottom right corner is captured from the Chota Udaipur Museum. So Chota Udaipur has a very well kept, well documented museum where there are artifacts and a very systematic documentation of the life of the tribal community, the clothes that they wear, the ornaments that they wear, the festivals they celebrate, the kind of food they eat, the kind of houses they have. All of this has been well documented in the in the museum. And on this corner, you will see this is a Pithora painting. We will talk about the Pithora painting in some time. And this is a Pithora ritual that is ongoing in one of the respondents' house, in which I was fortunate to participate. So, in the context of Gujarat, the eastern belt of Gujarat is inhabited by tribal communities, and all these tribal communities or indigenous communities are endowed with rich traditions. And the Rathwas are one among them because they worship sun, they worship the moon, they consider natural elements like clouds, fire, trees, water as gods, and they see the existence and essence of the divine in all these elements: the sun, moon, trees, water, nature, clouds, etc. And for this community, life is connected to nature. And when we explore their storytelling tradition, you will find that their stories are also so much about nature. So they celebrate festivals like Holi, Diwali, Divaso, Dashera, Dev Diwali, Akhatrij. They also have festivals which are very specific to their own community, such as Ind Puja, Kuvario Puja, the Pithora Puja, the Gamshahi ritual. They worship major gods like Baba Dev, Vagdev, Simbodo, and for different occasions in their lives they have different gods. So they have a god for family, they have a god for marriage, they have a god that is uh, for the village, right? They have a god for the community. There are different kinds of gods for rain. So, for example, there is a concept called Gamdev, the god of the village. So, whenever there is any ritual being conducted in the village, the first worship is offered to the Gamdev, that is the god of the village. And once the Gamdev is worshipped by all the villagers collectively in a communitarian sense, only after that any other ritual can take place. And then you can probably find that they will go to their individual houses and then start the ritual in their individual houses. Um, Uh, in the Ratwa tribe, you will also find a very important element of ancestor worship. They not only worship nature, they not only worship their gods, but they also have very high reverence for their ancestors. So, in any ritual, the ancestors are remembered, the ancestors are thanked, and the duty that they have towards the ancestors as a community is accomplished in all the rituals that they undertake. The Ratvas also host different kinds of fairs which exhibit their cultural diversity. This photograph from the fair in Kawant, which is very, very well known. You can just go to Google, and if you type Gair no Mero, Gair Fair, you will get wonderful pictures. Last year, I visited this particular Mela after Holi. I stayed there in the village right from morning till the end of the fair. So, among the community, they also have a weekly marketplace, which is called a Hart, where on a weekly basis, on a regular basis, cultural exchange takes place. So, there is a market where not just products are being exchanged or bought, but culture is also being exchanged. And I'm sure some of these features you will find common tribal communities in your own region as well. The Ratvas have specific rituals and specific gods and goddesses to be worshipped for each occasion. As I told you, for each occasion in their life, birth, death, marriage, etc., rain, good harvest, they have specific gods that they worship. And the storytelling tradition also is reflective of this kind of characteristic of the community. They celebrate festivals not just for entertainment or enjoyment, but the celebration of festivals is also a means to connect to nature, to connect to the divine, to look at the larger purpose of life, connect with the community, and connect with the society. And a typical Ratwa village uh, comprises of a Patel, a Pujaro, a Badava, who is the priest, and leaders and wazir who are at the forefront of decision making, organizing rituals and festivals. So, as we see, nature worship is extremely important for this community. There are festivals that they celebrate throughout the year. Ancestor worship is a crucial element of their culture, reflected in uh, their stories as well. And one of the major languages that they speak, which is also connected to their culture and to their storytelling tradition, is the Ratvi language. So this community, the Ratvas, they have a wide linguistic variety as well. And when we explore the storytelling tradition of any indigenous community, we must pay attention to not just their culture, festivals, and rituals, but we must also pay attention to their linguistic diversity, to the languages that they use, to the literature that they have, because it is through their language and through their literature that they are trying to explain their world to not just their next generation, but also to the outsiders. So, as a researcher in this case, I was the outsider and I was trying to understand their rituals, their stories from an emic perspective, from the community's perspective. So, like all other communities, the Ratvas also have their vast store of literature, which was transmitted orally earlier, but now, of course, they have documented their literature, and now they also have a vast repository of their own stories in their own languages. So, if we have to trace the folk tales, folk stories, folk songs, folk performances of any tribal community, that can be traced through their indigenous languages. So, language is not just a means of communication for the community, it is a means of preserving their culture, and we get to learn about the intricate, complex, and layered historical narratives of these communities through their languages. So, I just wanted us to understand the significance of language also in storytelling. So we will briefly come to the Pithora ritual, which is very important to understand the storytelling tradition of the Ratvas. But before that, once again, I want to emphasize that uh, in the Ratwa community, their stories are connected and interspersed through nature, religion, and culture. All these three intersections play a very important role in their storytelling tradition. So, as I said, ancestor worship is very, very important. So, for example, whenever the family sits to eat a meal, ancestors are remembered and worshipped first, right? Um, the, along with having their own celebrations of festivals and rituals in their own houses, they also celebrate festivals in a very communitarian way. So, for example, every house has their own deity, which is called Ghar ke Dev. जिस घर में आप रहते हैं उसका भी एक देव होगा, उसका भी एक deity होगा. And when you worship this घर का देव, you are performing the घरली puja. Then they have specific kinds of foods, like in their community they prepare urad dal vada. So for example, when I was doing my fieldwork with this community and I was witnessing the Gamshahi ritual being celebrated, the food that was offered to me was the urad dal vada, which is consumed very, very commonly in this region. Then they have grains, leaves, coconut, a diya. All of this is kept as a mark of respect. If I take you back to this particular picture, which I clicked, sorry, let me go back. Yeah, yeah. If I take you back to this particular picture that I've clicked, you can see how things have been put in place for this particular ritual and how peculiar it is, and how each detail has been paid attention to, right? So, for example, on the occasion of the Ind Puja or the Pithora Puja, the family's ancestors, the dead grandfather, the father, they are named together with the founder ancestor of the family by the priest who is performing the ritual. So, uh, this all of this becomes very much important because when we study the storytelling traditions of indigenous communities, we need to understand that you cannot disconnect them or dissociate them with their art and culture. Uh, Sometimes, when you study these storytelling traditions as an outsider, for you these may be storytelling traditions, but for them, these are just give me a moment. Sorry, I think I have a guest at my house. Just sorry, just a moment.
Zelam, ma'am. Meanwhile, can I ask my question, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, ancestral puja we also do every year, right, ma'am? So, how is it different from this ancestral spirit, ma'am? Like, we also remember our dead or our ancestors through our every year ritual, no, ma'am? So, how is this ancestral spirit puja different?
Okay,
Need to.
can I get back to this question, Shweta ji, when we take a pause or a
Yes,
break?
ma'am. Oh,
Yeah.
you're back, ma'am. I was like, okay.
No, no. So what happened? There was a monkey peeping in through my window, and he was almost trying to enter the room. So I got a little bit fidgety about it. I mean, I didn't mind its presence,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
it was
Prakriti is
almost
also
trying to,
ready to listen.
yeah, it was almost trying to kind of hang in through the window and get in into
Hmm.
my room. So that became a little
Oh,
bit precarious. So I had to
yes,
imagine,
ma'am.
and I thought, okay, who's this making noise? But yeah,
Hmm.
that's okay. Yeah,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
get it. It's an interesting
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
question that
ma'am.
you have asked, but I'll get back to it. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
let's continue. Zalem, my slide is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm glad Zalem is here because I was simply not able to see anybody on the screen. Okay. So we'll come back to the Pitoro ritual, but let's try to understand the storytelling tradition of the Rathwas, which is called the Gayana tradition or the Gayanu or the Gayano tradition. So this is the song of creation. So if we simply want to understand what the Gayana means, it is the song of creation, which means there are songs and stories which are talking about the creation of nature, the creation of earth, the creation of life. And how I understood this tradition through my fieldwork is that this is just a part of the many other surviving oral traditions that we have in Bharatiya civilization. And it is, I see it as a part of Bharat's long standing heritage and tradition of storytelling. So, my examination of the Gayana, and it can be different from somebody else who has probably done research on this particular tradition. I feel that we must examine this tradition and all other traditions also in other parts of the country from the vantage point of India's knowledge systems and civilizational legacy. As a researcher, when I worked with the community, undertook field research with them, I tried to acknowledge the uniqueness of their traditions, but I also understood that this is a part of the larger civilizational legacy that we have, and we cannot separate these traditions from this legacy. So, there is a plethora of oral literature that is found among the Rathwas in the tribe that resides in this region. And as I told you, when they have their pujas and their rituals, like Pithora Puja, Indal Puja, Gam Shahi. They enact dances, they enact stories, they perform dramas, they sing songs. So it again becomes a part of their larger tradition. And they have songs for particular occasions, for particular uh, for particular occasions in life. So, for example, there are songs that are dedicated to pleasing the rain god. There are songs dedicated to farming and agriculture. There are songs specific for festivals like Holi, Diwali, Divaso. Then there are also songs for important occasions in human life like family, birth, death, marriage, etc. Then when somebody in the community is taking a vow, for example, I take a vow that if I do well in my business or I do well in agriculture for this year, I'll probably do XYZ. I'll do a particular ritual. I'll carry out something. I'll give something in dana or charity. So there are also songs that are specifically sung when members of the community are taking a vow. There are also, very interestingly, songs with respect to liquor and alcohol. So all these songs are collectively referred to as Geet, Bol, and Gayana. And each of these song traditions, they narrate stories about gods and goddesses, rituals, life, nature, and they are an expression of what the community holds close to them. They're an expression of what the community holds, what the community values, what is their idea of life, what is their idea of the world, what is their existence like, what is their relationship with nature, with life, what do they think about life after death, etc. So the songs that are part of the storytelling tradition, they provide meaning to the community, and it is through these traditions that they pass on their cultural heritage to the next generation. They also assert their identity, and they cherish and preserve the traditional way of life while, of course, navigating contemporary concerns. So, if we speak about the Gayana tradition, and after this slide, what I will do is I'll demonstrate some videos from my fieldwork, which will give you a glimpse of what actually happens in this storytelling tradition. And again, what I understood is that for me as an outsider, I was looking at this only as a storytelling tradition. But for the community, this was beyond something beyond a storytelling tradition. It was something very divine, something very sacred, something that they gave a lot of importance and value to. So we may attach a very performative value to this particular storytelling tradition, but for them, it goes beyond performance. They don't think of it as performance, but probably they think of it as worship and aradhana. So Gayana is, we have to understand that it is a very integral part of all the rituals that Rathwas perform. So in all the rituals that the Rathwas perform throughout the year, you will find that the Gayana is an integral part, and it is sung as part of the ritualistic tradition. So it is interspersed in the ritual. It is not something that we can examine separately from the ritual. It is part of the ritual. So as I said, it represents who the community is, who are their gods and goddesses, what do they hold sacred. They hold sacred their village, their land, their community bonding, and their bond with nature. So Gayana, if I had to summarize, it represents the beliefs, ideas, worldviews of the Rathwas and their connection with nature and spirits. And you can call it a religious song and dance performance, or a religious poem, or a religious rendition which has song, which has poetry, which has music and dance. But for them, the nature of this tradition is very, very sacred. It can also vary from village to village. So even though we are looking at the storytelling tradition of this particular community, but from one village to the other, there may be variations in the way the Gayana is done, in the way the Gayana tradition is understood. So, who is in charge of leading the troupe or leading the rendition of the story in the Gayana tradition? It is done by the Badwa, that is the shaman or the priest. So there is one priest or one main person who is called the Badwa. He can either sing it alone, or he can do it with a group of people from the same village or also from different villages. And this group is called Gayaniyo. And they have a drum, which they call the dhak. And they sit in a particular way. There is a particular attire that they adorn. They perform their puja and rituals before they begin the singing and the narration. And the narration of the story goes on for the entire night during occasions like the Ind Puja, Pitora Puja, Gamshahi ritual. And this is also performed during specific months in the year. For example, if you have to witness this ritual, you have to visit this particular district in April and May or during July and August. So it's not that you can do it anytime, in any way, in any manner that you want. Only when there is a ritual or a festival being celebrated, which probably happens through different months in the year, but specifically during the months of April and May, and on specific days of these months, the performance of the ritual takes place, and the Gayana is a part of that ritual. So it's an accompaniment in the ritual, and it usually goes on for the entire night. So again, in my visit to the Jamli village in Chota Udaipur, I landed in the afternoon. So the afternoon was dedicated to the preparation for the ritual, and the song and dance tradition started around late evening, continued through the night, right up till the dawn. So it is accompanied by rhythmic dance. There is dance that happens. There are particular kinds of rhythmic dance steps that are performed by men and women in the village in which this particular tradition is taking place. So, for example, if the ritual is taking place in village X, the members of that village will also participate, and inhabitants from nearby villages will also participate. And the one who leads the story narration, the Badwa, he's supposed to be knowledgeable. He's supposed to have a legacy. He has inherited this tradition from his grandfather, father, uncles, etc. And he becomes the custodian of the tradition. So he has to be knowledgeable in the narration of the story. And it starts in a particular way and ends in a particular way. So the Gayana contains many interesting details. So if we have to understand what is narrated in the Gayana, it can contain lots of stories, lots of narrations. So for example, there are Gayanas which have stories about the origin and the existence of the earth. There are Gayanas which talk about the origin and the coming of the rainfall. There are Gayanas that talk about the making of the plow. There are Gayanas that are dedicated to specific gods and goddesses. There are Gayanas which tell stories about how certain names were given to gods and goddesses. Uh, there are stories which narrate the responsibilities of different gods and goddesses, and there are also Gayanas which talk about which particular deity has to be worshipped for removing illnesses and sorrows. So, for example, if somebody is ill, somebody's health is not good in the community, then there is a particular deity to be worshipped for that, and there is a particular Gayana dedicated to that particular uh, instance. So you cannot just sing any Gayana everywhere. It is very systematic, well thought of, and it's a legacy that's passed on from one generation to another. So the Badwa who's singing the Gayana, he's not learnt it in some school or college, or he was not taught this tradition very formally. He's just seen his father, grandfather, uncles do it, or brothers do it, and he's learnt it from them. Then in the area that this tradition thrives in, there is lot of piousness associated with the river Narmada. So there are Gayanas or stories dedicated to the river. There are Gayanas about the fairs. I told you about the Gair no fair. There is a Indraj Mela. So different kinds of fairs are also described in the Gayana. There are Gayanas dedicated to Pithora, Baba Pithora, who is one of the chief gods of the Ratwa tribe. So this is just an example that I have sourced from a very wonderful book that has been written about the community and their storytelling traditions and their culture. Of course, the book is in Gujarati, and it was published by the Bhasha Research and Publication Center in Chhotaudepur district in Tejgarh. And you can see that in this book, what they have interestingly done is that they have talked about the Gayana, they have narrated it, and they have very briefly described what it is dedicated to, what it is about, at what instance and on what occasion will this be sung. So, for example, when the Pithora ritual is going on, when the colors are being prepared, when the wall is being painted for the ritual, then this particular Gayana has to be sung. So, there were many examples in this particular in this particular book about the different Gayana traditions and on what occasions they have to be sung. So let's take a quick pause at this stage. I would like to show you some videos and some pictures from my field work, which I think would be very, very interesting for all of you to see. So Salem, you can just kind of, and these are some pictures that you can just see and appreciate. So Salem, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is just at the entrance of the village, right?
Yeah, the pots that we were talking about.
Yes, correct, correct. Absolutely, absolutely. This is from the museum, which shows up the tribe and their life. On the backdrop on the wall, what you see is the Pithora painting, which is the defining cultural feature of the Rathwa tribe. So you can see the kind of clothes that they wear. This is also from the museum. This is what we call a Pithora painting. And as I said, you and me may see it as a painting, but this is actually a ritual that is performed, and this painting is put on the wall. It is carved out on the wall only during that particular ritual. So this is probably somebody's house, and you see that they have painted the wall with the Pithora motifs. These are young girls in the village. They are getting ready for the ritual. This is the open field where the Gamshahi ritual was supposed to take place, and this is a preparation for the same. You'll see a huge crowd gathered in the village for this. You will see how men and women are dressed and they are dancing around. So they are carrying some instruments in their hands. They're also carrying branches of trees, leaves, and figs with them while the ritual is being performed. Then, at one point of time, you also see that they stand in a line and the elders perform a particular puja and particular ritual. So, you see that the young men of the village are standing in a line. They've brought this branch of the tree from one particular location to their own village, and the other village members will welcome them. So you see them standing for the ritual here. This is the elders performing the ritual. You can see how the the man is standing with the branch and the fig, and the lady is performing the ritual. So just taking you quickly, this is all the crowd of the village going to the venue where the ritual is going to be performed. They're going all together. You can see there is a dholak here. So now the song and dance routine will start. So there'll be singing, drum beating, dancing, narration all together. And you can see this is becoming a collective kind of an experience. Everybody participates. There are some certain rhythmic dance steps which only people from the community know. So Look at how the women are holding each other, and this is how, in a circle, they are dancing. Again, the men are also dancing. They are all together in this place, and this is how all the preparations and the conduct of the ritual takes place. Now, quickly, I do want to also show you some videos where you can see the ritual actually happening. For there, I think I'll have to share the audio tab. I'm not sure if you will be able to hear any sound, but definitely you can probably just watch. So if the audio tab works, it's okay. Otherwise, I'll just simply share the screen. So yeah, so if in this clip, see how before the storytelling tradition, there is a particular puja that is being performed, right? This is the dhak or the dhol or the drum, right? This is all the fieldwork that I carried out under the mentorship of my theatre teacher, Shri P.S. Chari. So, see here, even before the beginning of the storytelling tradition, this is how the puja is being performed. You can quickly watch it again. Look at how carefully they are doing it, right? So, they just don't start the storytelling tradition just like that. There are rituals to be performed before they begin. Okay, this is the same thing that they are doing. See, this, they've placed a diya. There is a diya, there is kumkum, there is water. Okay, and the badava, the shaman or the priest will lead. They will do they will use incense sticks, agarbatti. They will worship the dhak, and then they will start their ritual. And what was very interesting, you can see I'm here making notes. They have rice grain. This was, of course, all recorded with due permission from the community and those who participated in the tradition, those who led the tradition. We recorded them. We recorded what they did with their due permission. So, just very quickly, I want to pause and share with you. Yes, worshipping the musical instruments, absolutely correct. This recording was done in Mathwad. Mathwad is a village on the border of Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, and you will find that the Rathwa community shares a space and shares villages between Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, and a lot of their traditions are very, very similar, even though they are living in two different states. And before they began the narration of the story, I made two observations. The space that was given to them, they considered it as very sacred. So they told us to go away, move out of that space. They closed the door. The group of performers, along with the main priest, they did some rituals which we were not allowed to witness. We could not witness this. They completed the rituals inside the room. Then they came outside. They did the rituals. And only after that, they started the Gayana. The second observation that I made was that they sang the Gayana in a sequential manner. So once the narration begins, once the stories are being narrated, it doesn't happen in any random order. So there is a sequence to it, there is some system to it. So in between, when we went and told them that we want to understand and record the Gayana about Narmada River, they said that's not how it is done. They told us that we can't start the Narmada Gayana before we dedicate a Gayana to Mother Earth, to Mother Nature. So, as I said, if you go as an outsider and as a researcher, especially from an ethnographic lens, you may have a certain purpose in mind. And I'm here very specifically talking about doing research with communities from the perspective of Indian knowledge systems. So, we requested them that why don't you narrate the third Gayana first instead of the first Gayana? And they said, no, that's not how it is done. There is a sequence, there is an order, we'll have to follow it. And if you're interested in the Gayana about the river Narmada, you wait till we come to it. So they will not abide by any special requests that we make because we want to document in a particular way. But as I said, for them, it's a tradition, it's a ritual, it has to be performed in a certain way. Now we can also, again, I'm not sure about the audio, but there is a YouTube video which we will watch. But the audio part, if it is not heard, you can just try to watch it a couple of seconds. So this is how it is done. So I hope you saw that there was this person dressed in white who's the main person leading the troop, is the Badavo. The others, they are dressed with this red turban, green shirt. They are the accompanies, they are the people who are accompanying the Badavo. He will start singing, narrating, and they will follow. Okay, we just probably watch one more video. Just a moment. Yeah. So this is also from the Gam Shahi tradition, the Gam Shahi ritual. This is also part of the ritual. We're just trying to locate, yeah, this one. Okay, so I hope that this gives you some little idea about the Gayana tradition that I was referring to. And it is quite possible, as I said, because it is practiced through the span of the entire night, it is quite possible that the Badava, the priest, and the group of people who are participating in the storytelling, they might completely enter into a very different state of consciousness, into a state which is not very regular and normal. And they might say that we have been able to connect with nature, we have been able to connect with the divine spirits. They might claim after the tradition that we were able to converse and talk to this particular deity. All of this is part of the storytelling experience. So let me just quickly now get back to my presentation before I can try to offer some concluding remarks. So this entire project that I was able to participate in was made possible under the guidance and mentorship of my theater teacher, Shri P.S. Chari, who is a very well-known theater educator and theater practitioner in Gujarat, as well as in the country. He has directed plays in Gujarati, Hindi, English, and Marathi. And his comment, his expert understanding on the Gayana tradition is very, very important for us to bring ourselves back to the fact that our indigenous communities have these multitudes of storytelling traditions. So you can see that it is a storytelling form which is practiced particularly by the Ratwa communities in Kamat, Alirajpur, Badwani, and the areas that share border between Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. The focus of the tradition, the Gayana song or the story, is thanking the deities, thanking the eternal force, the gods. It's done as a thanksgiving. There are many different stories narrated in the Gayanaro, and the story of the Narmada River, which is very, very sacred for that community. It is connected with the creation of the universe. I already shared with you what are the different kinds of stories that are narrated as part of this tradition. The story is also known as the Song of the Bhilala, the Song of Creation, and it is predominantly sung by the Badwas or the Bhagats in the Narmada Valley in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. The Gayana tradition showcases the richness and essence of Adivasi oral literature and traditions. By singing the Gayana, the community relives the creation of the world and all its living beings. So, closeness, proximity to nature, and understanding the essence of the creation, how life was created, how world was created, why nature is important. All of these are themes that are predominantly found in the Gayana. So, shorn of its religious content, the Gayana is an entertaining though complicated tale of magic and adventure in the Bhilali dialect of the Ratwas. If you had seen the videos, you will observe a pattern. There's a lot of repetition that is being carried out while narrating the story. So these are also some videos and pictures. So this is how they are seated. This is the arrangement. They're wearing red turbans and green shirts. They hold the drum, they sit across it in a particular way, and they play it and sing it in a particular way. It is quite possible that during the story narration, the Badava or one of the troop members realizes that they are communicating with the divine. They are communicating with the larger force, and then the villagers and the community also understands it and respects it. This is the puja being done before the story narration actually starts. So if we have to quickly understand this particular storytelling tradition from a very regional perspective, because all of us, we have been talking about the variety of storytelling traditions in our country. We have examples from Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, the Northeast, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, etc. We have Chhattisgarh, we talked about the Pandavani tradition. So this is our intangible cultural heritage. I mean, we are not able to touch it or physically hold it or feel it. It is intangible, it's there. And as long as it is there, it will survive. The moment the practitioners of these stories um, either are no longer with us, or the next generation refuses to practice these stories, these traditions will wither away, they will die out. And it was interesting when I went to Madhya Pradesh for field work, and I was interacting with the Badwas, the main person who leads the narration of the Gayana. I asked him, what does his son do? And he says, he told me that his son studies in a college in Bhopal. And I asked him, so in the conversation I asked him if his son also is a custodian to this tradition, does he also participate in the story and song narration? And this guy, he was very sad as he was responding. He told me that no, my son laughs at what I do. He mocks what I do. He says that because you don't have anything else to do, that is why you continue to do this. And he's completely disowned this tradition. He says, I want to be the city guy, I want to live in a big city, have a college education, and I don't want to really continue what you are doing. And he was visibly very sad as he was sharing this with me. And he said that after I am no longer there in this world, I'm not sure who in my family will continue this tradition. And Shri P.S. Chari and Zelam can share more about the oral storytelling traditions of the southern part of Gujarat, which was performed under Sir's mentorship as a full theatre play, Kansari. What kind of challenges we face when we are trying to document these storytelling traditions, when we are trying to understand these traditions from the community's perspective, and we want to tell the world outside that there are these traditions to be appreciated. That is also a challenge for a teacher, an educator, and a performing artist. So we know that these traditions and many other, I'm not simply talking about the Guyana tradition. This is where I tried to focus my research for about 1.5 year, and that is why I thought it was important to share these insights coming from the field. This was not done sitting in a library or sitting in a room. We'd actually go out there, visit the field, live with the community, be with them, talk to them, interact, watch them do this, and then understand what it means for them. So storytelling is a tried and tested technique in ancient Indian communication, which has diversity. And all these oral traditions, of which Guyana is just an example, they are rooted in our ancient wisdom and philosophy, and they need to be, people need to know that such traditions exist. And I was also quite surprised that this tradition exists only 100 kilometers from where I stay. But it took me a long time to actually get acquainted with this tradition face to face. Of course, now we see the impact of modernization, globalization, urbanization on these storytelling practices. So the impact of the fact that there are not many takers for this tradition. The young people don't want to carry this tradition forward. They also probably don't want to own up this tradition. They don't have the knowledge about their own traditions. And the impact of modern mass media, urbanization is also playing a very adverse role in the survival of these traditions. And when you actually do some field work with the community, you realize that they are such a rich repository of knowledge, which is going unnoticed by the larger world. So, in fact, when we sat for the entire day and the entire night recording and understanding the tradition, आपको और मुझे कोई प्रेजेंटेशन करना है तो हमें साथ में नोट्स रखने पड़ेंगे, हमें पीपीटी चाहिए. वी ऑल नीड दीज विजुअल एड्स एंड विजुअल टूल्स. Imagine the custodians of this tradition are narrating the story which is there in their heart, mind, and conscious without any paper, notes, notebook, mobile. They had nothing with them. They just continue to narrate, narrate, and narrate. It's all in the Smrti. They have heard it, Shruti, and they are reproducing it with their Smriti, and they continue. The performance almost lasted for 5 to 6 hours, and not for a single moment they forgot or they fumbled or they hesitated or they were trying to recollect. It was coming out also naturally, as if they were telling these stories since time immemorial. So if anyone wants to explore some work around this particular tradition, there are some work, there is research work that has already been done, some by foreign scholars, some by Indian scholars. One major work is by the Rathwa scholars who belong to the community. One another great scholar of this particular uh, tradition is Professor Subhash Ishai from Chota Udaipur. He has also done very good work on this tradition. Nishant Choksi from IIT Gandhinagar has done some great work on Adivasi languages in the context of Gujarat. And Amita Bhaviskar's tradition, Amita Bhaviskar's dissertation on the Bhilala tribals in the Narmada Valley is also an interesting piece of work. And I believe that when we do such kind of field work and research work with the community, it's not possible for an individual to do it on their own. There is a collective effort that is required. So I was assisted by members of the community as well as the Anadi Foundation. I had Dr. Rachna Bhangaonkar as my mentor for this project. Shri P.S. Chari sir, my cohort team members, Zalem also guided and facilitated me a lot, and all the members of the community who welcomed me and who allowed me a glimpse of their world and their tradition. It is also necessary that we acknowledge the role of the community, how large hearted they are when they are sharing their stories with us. They don't feel that we will steal their stories or take credit for what is theirs, but they very openly and warmly share their traditions with us. So as researchers, I feel it is our moral responsibility that when we are engaging in any research on storytelling, when we are engaging in any research with the indigenous community and their traditions, we must exercise great caution, undertake an emic perspective, and try to appreciate and understand the traditions from the community's perspective rather than impose our worldview on them. So, this was just a brief presentation about the Guyana tradition, and I would not even call it a tradition, I would call it a living experience, a lived experience, something that is part of the community's life. And why I was encouraged to share this is because it involved an element of going to the field, being with the community, and understanding it from their um eyes and ears. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Zalem. I can see that there were so many comments and interactive messages in the chat box that I was not able to read because the screen had my presentation. But I can see that there was there was a lot of sharing going on in the chat box. So thank you so much, Zalem, for handling that so effortlessly, like you did the last time. Yes, Zalem wanted to share some interesting facts, so I hand it over to Zalem.
Thank you, Nidhi ma'am, for taking us through the culture of Guyana, their stories, their traditions, their work, their
uh, their existence. And it has been always a, there's this curiosity to know more about such cultures which are not the mainstream cultures that we come across through cinema or anything like that. So I would like to share two three instances where, as you said, that they are very very uh, gracious about allowing us to give the details and all. But on the contrary, I got one instance where we visited the Bharat Bhavan, when we visited the tribal museum also. And one of the practitioners of theater, for the repository work, he went to the this Madhya Pradesh wala tribal belt. And there he said that, Jabi, I want some peace and research to be done for the culture, to go I go and visit the people who are deeply connected with their own roots, and that is the these tribal people. So he cited the example to us, and he mentioned that, during the night stay, he was given a particular jhopdi. And the next day, the people who were, who came to meet him, he was asked कि आपको नींद अच्छे से आई and all those things. So he said that पूरी रात I was unable to sleep because of the बहुत सारे मच्छर, बहुत सारे कीड़े and all those things. So the mahant who visited him, he said that, I will be sending you one ointment that is prepared by the jadi booty that is present in this area. So I'm just, putting emphasis on one thing, that, this culture is so much rooted and grounded that they have their own, they don't believe in our allopathies or other medicines. They have their own jadi booty, and they have the knowledge also about it. So they, that gentleman, he passed on that ointment to him. And the next day, I forgot the name of the person, the theater practitioner, but he asked and inquired that, sir, ek cheeti bhi paas mein nahi aayi. Thank you so much. I slept peacefully. And they were adamant when he asked that, ki, can I know which jadi booty was used in this medicine, this medicinal oil that I applied and all those things. So they said कि आप आम खाओ, आपको गुठलियाँ गिनने की जरूरत नहीं है. We are not going to share this, but I hope that it helped you to sleep in a peaceful way. Secondly, when, Chari sir, when we were doing Kansari, so Chari sir, told us that
Yeah,
when
Zelam, I think you will have to just give them a backdrop of Kansari.
अच्छा, okay, so
मतलब
Kansari
कर्सरी
basically,
क्या है वो आप बता के फिर आप अपनी बात करिए.
yeah. So Kansari is a dramatic presentation that we all, performed. And Kansari is a story about crop, basically. Jo I have mentioned that in the chat box all as well. Ki during the harvest season, the old crops are being, the new crops are being, they are, उनको उनकी पूजा की जाती है. There is one महंत, एक ओल्ड बुजुर्ग इंसान जो होते हैं, वो गांव के सभी लोगों को दे गैदर असेंबल, एंड देन दे टेल अ स्टोरी अबाउट द क्रॉप्स. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज, हमारे यहाँ जब नया धान्य आता है, क्रॉप्स आते हैं, तो वी पुट द old crops in other utensils and the new one in the new. But that is not a tradition about these people. They mix the new and old. So, it's like they don't undo the things that has been gone by. So they are welcoming the new, but they are keeping the old thing also. So that was the importance of it. And Kansri was something that, that was a play that told the importance about the valuing the crop, valuing the anna. So that was it. And one more thing, when we talk about, we yesterday, Vikas sir talked about Chhattisgarh. So there is a tribal belt there also, to which there is one important, I was just going through certain videos past few years back, and I came across ki wahan par they have this red ants ki chutney. And that is very famous thing that they have.
सो द थिंग इज कि वो लोग इतने रूटेड है कि दे डोंट इवन थिंक दैट हम 2 मिनट के लिए सोच सकते हैं कि ये कैसे खा सकते हैं, राइट? बट दे आर लाइक दैट इज ओके बिकॉज दैट इज इन देयर ट्रेडिशंस. नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द पॉट्स, श्वेता जी, आई थिंक श्वेता जी ओनली वाज आस्किंग मी कि हम लोग भी एंसेस्टर की पूजा करते हैं, लेकिन हमारे यहाँ एंसेस्टर्स की पूजा हम लोग श्राद्ध, वो श्राद्ध वाले टाइम पे की जाती है, वेयर वी उनका अच्छा, उनका फेवरेट भोजन बना के वी place that on the terrace and we see that the कौवे आके खा रहे हैं या pigeons आके खा रहे हैं, etc etc. So the thing is, यहाँ पर इनके कल्चर में there is one peculiarity that whoever is like, जो भी जिनका निधन हो जाता है, whoever pass away, उनके नाम का एक पॉट गांव के विलेज के एकदम बाहर की तरफ एक छोटा सा कुछ ऐसे कॉरिडोर जैसा बनाया होता है, वहां पे उनका वो पॉट इन देयर मेमोरी इट इज प्लेस. एंड ऑन एवरी तिथि ऑफ दैट द पर्सन हु हैज बीन डिपार्टेड, ऑन एवरी तिथि वहां पर उनके जो फेवरेट चीजें थे वो उस पॉट के साथ रख के, मतलब खाना हो, पान हो, बीड़ी हो, वॉट एवर इट इज, it used to be placed along with that pot. So the people, they believe that there is one amavasya, I forgot ki kaun si wali amavasya hai, but they have this culture ki जहाँ पे they still believe कि हमारे ancestors यहाँ आते हैं और जब भी वो आए तो उनको रहने के लिए अच्छे इंतजाम, मतलब बिछौना या तकिया या पलंग या ऐसे, it should be comforting for them. So this is what they wholeheartedly believe in, and that's the reason they don't worship the idols that we do. They have full dedication towards the nature, mother nature, प्रकृति की देवियाँ, प्रकृति को बहुत मानते हैं. So yeah, Nidhi ma'am, I wanted to share that only.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I got the clarity. Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, Nidhi ma'am, as you said, you wanted it at the beginning that if you know any storytelling methods from your place where you stay. So I come from Telangana, ma'am, the Hyderabad especially. So there are 5 things which I know. And mostly out of the 5, maybe you have heard about 3, Oggukatha, Burrakatha and Harikatha. There are 2 more, ma'am, Cherial scroll painting or Patam Katha. It is like same thing as the mural which you showed.
Yeah.
This one is actually painted on a khadi cloth, cotton khadi cloth, and it is actually like a film roll, ma'am, which actually carry forwards our mythological and folk tales. It's like a comic strip. If you see the pattern which we open in the like when we read a scroll kind of one, that is the one, man. And the last one is Chindu Bhagavatam. The Chindu is the word for jumping. So
Okay.
चिंदू भागवतम इज दैट एनर्जी से जो डांस करते करते बोलते हैं ना मैम, नरेटिंग द स्टोरीज फ्रॉम भागवतम. इट इज सिमिलर टू द केरला वन, द यक्षगण. So
Yakshagana.
these are
Okay.
the 2, I mean 5, ma'am. So yes.
Yes, that it's wonderful to know that just in your region you have these 5 traditions, and I'm sure same is the case with other participants coming from different regions. YMG has already shared with us so many examples of storytelling from Odisha. So
Yes.
it's great, and I want to again emphasize about the IKS aspect in all of this. In fact, Zalem is a theater artist, and what they have done by putting a performance of such an oral storytelling tradition, one of the stories from the storytelling tradition, in front of a larger audience, so that the urbanites, the city dwellers, also come to know the richness of wisdom and knowledge that our traditions carry. So there may be so many stories in a particular indigenous tradition, but when you are putting it up as a theater performance, it is very challenging, and they were able to do it. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Zalem, they were invited by the National School of Drama and some very prestigious theater festivals in Delhi and Bhopal to perform this. And this is a particular storytelling tradition from the southern part of Gujarat. What I spoke about today, the Gayana tradition, is from the central eastern belt of Gujarat. So I'm sure even in your home states, the different parts where how your home state is divided, different regions within your state would have their own specific storytelling traditions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
That was a
we
nice,
we
invaluable
performed.
lesson from, like directly from the actor, ma'am, a stage actor. It is invaluable experience and knowledge given by her, ma'am. The way they have to be very creative and spontaneous and challenging and all. Thank you, Zelam, ma'am. Thank you, Nidhi, ma'am.
Thank you, Shweta ji. Yes, Nidhi ma'am, we performed at the Minerva Festival at Kolkata, and then we did perform at Bharat Shahid Bhavan in Bhopal. And MSD में it was a micro drama that was presented in form of Mauli, which won the award.
Correct.
So
Yes.
yeah,
And what is also very interesting in this whole thing, which I would like everyone to appreciate, is through this entire theater exercise, the community was involved. As in the stories that were written in the southern part of Gujarat, in Dang, there is. What's the name of the person who guided this whole process from the community, Zelam?
uh, Vadu, Daya Bhai Vadu.
Daya Bhai. So Daya Bhai is a member of the community in South Gujarat. He is a learned person. He has written about the tradition. He has researched about the tradition. So while the oral story was being converted into a theater performance, Daya Bhai was very much a part of the entire exercise. So again, somebody getting involved from the community gives you that authenticity and conviction to bring that story out before the world. Okay, Swayamji, go ahead with your question and sharing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Actually, I want to share something related to the Guyana tradition of the Rathwa community. That we have also in Odisha. There are some tribal communities. There are many tribal communities actually, like the Kons. Then they actually they can be found in not only in Odisha, but we can also see that they are found in Chhattisgarh, then Jharkhand, and also in West Bengal also, in some parts of West Bengal also, and we can see that they are called like Santals, and then the Kons, then we can say the Shabara community, and many others also, like there are also Kolhas. There are different type of names of those communities, and they do have their own storytelling, or we can say that they have their own culture, and through their own culture they perform all these storytelling processes. And like you said that they love to narrate everything that is related to nature, like and there is a story written by some writer that was Matti Devatara Puja, means the worship of earth god, and sometimes they also present earth as goddess also. In some parts it is worshipped, the earth is worshipped as god, and then there is also the earth is also mentioned as a goddess. Yes, and we can see that there are special occasions or rituals also, like we know Makar Sankranti. Makar Sankranti in Odisha, it is actually, or we can say basically, it is a kind of ritual done by the Santals or the Santali people.
Okay.
In those kind of traditions they do have different kind of dance, then music, then songs speaking about their own culture. Then there are also cockfights.
No.
There are also cockfights, and they eat different kind of wild mushroom. They have their own mushrooms, and like Zelam ma'am said, they are very fond of that kai chutney, the red
No.
ants chutney. Yes.
Red and
And
certain.
when I was living in one of the districts of Odisha, at that district actually they have many tribal people. So there used to be weekly haats or
Heart. Yeah.
markets, which is
Yes.
called
Yes.
hatta in Odia. So
Hmm.
when I went there as a small kid, I saw there in big bags, in jute bags, they would have totally we can see the piles of red ants, and they
Oh,
would sell those things to their community actually, because we can't like all of them can't afford to eat those
it.
type of foods, but they are very fond of those things. And I used to ask to my parents or grandparents also about that. So that is that was what I was trying to tell you. Then
Yes.
again, Odisha, as we know, the main deity of Odisha, who is called Lord Jagannath of
Yes.
Puri, yes, he was actually worshipped by the Kons, the Kandha people. Kondh, that is actually pronounced as Kondh, or in Odia it is Kandha. And he was worshipped at that time. He was referred by some of the scholars also that the Jaleri Pennu means God. So the
Okay.
Jaleri Pennu, who was worshipped by the Kons, was actually the recent the main deity or the chief deity of the people of Odisha, who is known as Lord Jagannath. But he was
Jagannath.
actually the deity of Kons. Then there is also another story where the Shabara community worshipped Jagannath as Niramadhava. There is a
Mm.
story of Vishwavashu Sabar, who worshipped Jagannath in the form of Niramadhava. Jagannath came later.
Okay.
Jagannath was called as Daru Devata because he was made out of log of wood or
Mm.
logs of wood. Yes. So that was what I wanted to share, that Jagannath is chiefly the god of tribal people, but nowadays we, the urbanized or the modernized people, we have accepted him as our chief deity, but he was actually the chief deity of the tribals.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Then I have a query also. This is actually not a query. I just wanted to get some answer from you. That can we say that uh, that the Vedic, the hymn or the chants or the slokas of Vedic tradition came first, or we can say that the oral storytelling process emerged first? I think it is the oral storytelling tradition. What's your point of view, ma'am?
Uh, Swayamji, first of all, thank you for all the insights that you have regularly shared with us, especially
Thank you, ma'am.
with.
I was also delighted by your discussion today. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
though it was I had to rush on a lot of things in between. I had my monkey friend peeping in, so
Yes, yes.
and it became a tricky situation because I kept wondering who's making this noise, and I'm suddenly
Yes,
discovering that
ma'am.
there's this monkey trying to enter.
Perhaps
Okay,
he was also enjoying with us.
probably
He or
yes,
she,
yes.
I don't know.
Yes, yes. So you have shared so many insights with us about the traditions from Orissa, and I think collectively as a group we have learned a lot about it. Second, the question that you have asked is very interesting, but I would refrain from answering it because personally I think I'm not an expert in terms of answering about history or chronology as to what came first and what came later. I
Yes,
feel that whatever came first and whatever came later, there are experts in the area
yes,
who have done systematic scientific studies about the chronology of
yes,
our Bharatiya civilization. So you can probably check their work to get a more um, solid and academic answer.
yes,
But if
ma'am.
I have to do give a if I have to provide a personal take on this issue as a researcher and as somebody who's interested in Bharatiya knowledge, I think that sometimes we become very how do I put it? We become a little bit finicky about the time and the chronology part, uh,
Yes,
which which at times is okay, but if it doesn't help us in understanding the core values of our civilization, then it may lead us to an arena where we're only arguing and discussing and debating about what came first and what came later. So as a seeker in the
yes,
IKS tradition, I have not really paid attention to the timelines in terms of what influenced what, because I have always looked at it as a part of the larger framework. So it is quite possible that early Vedic traditions have influenced oral storytelling, or oral storytelling has influenced the Vedic tradition. Both ways it can work, and both ways it seems okay, as long as they remain a part of the larger civilizational framework. So when I examine any indigenous or Vanavasi, Adivasi tradition, I don't think of it as separate from the Bharatiya civilizational ethos. It is just a part of this larger umbrella. So all those core values that we speak about, dharma, righteousness, morality, knowledge, wisdom, philosophy, all of these is found in the indigenous traditions as well. And there has always been a kind of a give and take between what we now call as a mainstream tradition and as an indigenous tradition. To me, it's part of the larger fold. And if we study these traditions seriously and intricately, we'll find that they're talking about the same civilizational values. So why
Yes,
to demarcate, and why to think about what came first and what came later? This can be a matter of serious scholarship.
it
If
can
we are,
be, ma'am, it can be like a specific point of view, but like you are talking from a generalized point of view, so we
yeah,
can, yeah, we can stop
yeah.
debating. Oh, yeah.
No, no. First of all, I think that I don't have the authority to comment on this question.
Yes,
That's one. And the way I approach IKS is, I'm not interested in the chronology, not really interested in the timelines, but more interested in passing on the civilizational message and ensuring that the message does remain intact the way it was delivered through multiple interpretations, multiple stories, multiple traditions, multiple retellings, etc. As long as the core essence is maintained, that helps. If that partially answers what you wanted to
yes,
understand.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Thank you so much.
can I come in the discussion?
Yes, yes, sure, Sayyadaji. Please come
Good
in.
evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. And I would like to really appreciate, though I have been on and off in the sessions because of being too occupied these days. But then I would like to really mention one thing. I have attended so many workshops, seminars, and even some of these IKS I have done FDPs. But this was the most intense discussion I have really seen and had. I'm really happy to attend this thing. So even I'm looking after that. I've missed two of the sessions, so due to Eid, but I'll get back to those recordings and will surely have the entire knowledge. And as far as this, what Samya ma'am just now asked, no, the much I have read, and you truly said that it is not like we need not to get into which came first, rather what is there in both. But then still one thing are there in Vedic tradition, no, there was a Shruti tradition which started very early, which
Hmm.
which is mostly like related to like hearing from the people who have sacred knowledge and then memorizing it,
Yeah,
and during when they used to live in caves and other, they used to like make drawings, which was a kind of a story which is related to how and what they are doing in that manner.
correct.
So somewhere, it means written scripture must have came later only. Today we
Hmm.
call it a modern style of storytelling, and we have so much to do with AI and other ways. Then we can give animated series to our kids also. But then,
Yeah.
like somewhere we have missed the soul of that. I feel still, I feel though we are too modernized, we have missed the soul of everything because now we take it very lightly. When you
Yes.
call it a Shruti or a Vandana, you have a kind of like this thing like it's sacred and a kind of worship and very dedicated and honesty. But today, when we see it just in the form of a cartoons on YouTube or somewhere, no, we don't take it that seriously. We don't feel that piousness somewhere, the sacred feeling used to lie before it. So this is the thing. So whenever we are into storytelling, we need to convey this also, that from which tradition it came and what is the whenever we want a real enlightenment from any of the knowledge, we
Hmm.
need to get back and see the feeling and dedication of the people, that tradition of shishya and guru,
Yes. Guru
uh,
Shish. Yes.
ustad, and then the people
Yeah, yeah.
under him. So doing every work and doing everything. So somewhere we have missed that soul, though it is like very easy today. It's quite accessible today, but somewhere the soul is missing, and it started somewhere from the Shruti and Vandana.
Correct. Thank you, Sayyada ji. Glad to have you on this platform. And it's okay if you have missed some sessions. You can always go back to the
Ma'am,
recordings.
actually, I have something to say. The last
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
Swayam can I complete in 30 seconds? Just a quick
Yes, ma'am.
response.
Yes, yes,
So
ma'am.
Sayyada ji, you can go back to the recordings. All our sessions are recorded. And if you were not there in yesterday's session with Dr. Pinku, I encourage you to go back and check that recording, because yesterday the discussion was much more intense than
Yes, I
what.
enjoyed. Though I was sitting in the hospital, but I was listening to that, and it was, but I couldn't interact. I mean, there
No, no problem. No problem.
because of that. Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I really enjoyed the session.
yeah,
Yesterday was really the day
yeah.
by day it's going on now. It's increasing.
That's great. That's great. And I truly appreciate your insights about the Shruti Smrti Parampara. We have had the chance to discuss it in Dr. Vikas's session, and it's one
Hmm.
of the core
Actually,
attributes of.
ma'am, I'm a person from management literature as well, both.
Oh, okay. That's great. That's a
So I've done
very nice
MBA and
part.
then literature and PhD in English. So I did
Okay.
my this writing only 20th century writers, spiritual writers. Okay, so what
Wonderful.
right now I'm doing, I read a lot of Quran and then other books as well because I feel like everything says everything. So I want to do this intermingle studies of all because the way the situations are going on, we
Hmm.
perceive our religion our way, our God our way. But then I always feel that if we can fight, why can't they fight?
Right. Right.
There could be green rain, there could be red rain, there could be like other things what we associate. So we have made it more symbolic than making it as a religious and a spirituality. After all,
Right.
it was all created and made to make us lead to God and towards humanity. But we
Yes.
all are very much distracted.
Yes.
So that's
Correct. Correct.
why I want to put my study and would like to produce something in future which could really be helpful for the society.
Yeah, surely we wish you the best for it, and we are very happy to see your thoughtful engagement in the session and your insights are useful. The catch point for me was when you said that the essence is lost, and we are probably trying to rediscover it by revisiting these traditions. One quick point that I want to make about Swayamji's question, and I'm just watching the time as well, is that I think I'm not discounting the significance of studying the timelines and the chronology. I feel that it is very, very important. However, it should be a matter of serious academic scholarship by a dedicated set of scholars who can comment on it with evidence, with systematic studies, and then that kind of can be the basis for further discussion about the integration of civilization in common people. If you speak to common people, probably they are not very intrigued and interested in terms of which came first, which influenced what. But they're more interested in the message and how it helps them lead a better life, as Sayada ji was just saying. So I do acknowledge the importance of timelines and understanding how we have progressed as a civilization, but I think that should be left to scholars who are experts in this domain.
Ma'am, even I agree with Sayada ma'am and what I have learned from Pinku sir's class. Also, even I am from the literature background. And as ma'am said, ma'am, Shruti came first, I guess. So, according to the literature we read, then as sir mentioned, Shruti and Smriti, which are for memory and listening, like, sorry, listening and memory. And there is this word lekana, I think so, which came later, ma'am. The writing part, likna, lekna. So, I
Yeah,
think the order
writing and
will go like,
documentation is, of
Ma'am,
course.
we cannot be sure, but I think the more
hmm,
appreciating is this that we always, so for all the timelines, we had this call
hmm,
as an enthusiast who tried
yes,
to
ma'am.
Ma'am, I
record in
have
whatever
something
way
to
they
say
could.
in one line actually. That
No, no, absolutely.
my question is not that serious. Actually, I was just trying to assume that because we know that the Adivasis or the tribal people were the first, or we can say they are the aborigines who stayed here first in any of the
Hmm.
cultures. So that
Yes,
must
yes.
be their point of view that the storytelling
Mhm.
developed from them
Correct.
Hmm.
I
because
get you.
the Aryans came later. That's why
Hmm.
that was what I was trying to tell you. Because actually,
Swayamji, but the
yes,
Aryan invasion theory has already been debunked. I'd
Hmm.
request you to please read some works in that arena, especially the works by Shrikant Talageri ji. The Aryan invasion theory has been completely debunked by systematic scientific studies. It is the Aryans were not invaders, the Aryans were not outsiders. So I, because that's a very lengthy and complex topic, I don't want to get into that, but I request you to read up Shrikant Talageri ji's work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So okay, I want to it's 8:20 and I'm really apologetic about extending sessions like this, and I appreciate the people who are staying back. Just taking 2 extra minutes, if Zelam allows me, to lead you to some resources which you can use. Like, we want all of us to actually do IKS and not just listen and kind of absorb knowledge. So this is the website of Anadi Foundation. This is where I did this fellowship. I was able to do my fieldwork because of their support. So you can check. They have a Center for Indigenous Knowledge, and I believe they regularly come out with. Okay, it's not working. Some error in the website. No problem. So do check out the some programs and courses that they have. They also have a lot of IKS books. So if you want to, introduce your students to some aspects of IKS, but you are looking for some material that is more interactive and can be used in classrooms with young students, especially Shweta ji told me that she is a school teacher. So please check out their set of books on IKS. They're really good. They have their gurukulams also in different parts of the country, and they regularly do. Shweta ji, if you're there in the session, Anadi regularly does teacher training for school teachers for IKS. So you can participate in their offline training programs. Also, they are doing really good work along with the Vyuha Learning Labs, which is an organization based out of Coimbatore. So this is one resource which you can explore, and the second is Sahapedia, which I recommend to everyone. Sahapedia is a website repository about Indian culture, Indian tradition, Indian arts. So you will find a lot of interesting, well researched, sharply argued, and very well referenced articles on different aspects of Indian arts, Indian culture, Indian literature. See, there are you can have articles in Marathi or about Marathi literature. Okay, so please try to explore this resource. A lot of what I put together in my research about the Gayana tradition and about the Pithora tradition was from the was with the help of the website Sahapedia. So it's a great cultural resource, and they also have some programs and activities like fellowships, baithaks, conferences, workshops, heritage walks. So this will help all of you to actually do IKS, implement IKS in action. So that's it from our side, and I think we should now
Ma'am,
close
one
today's
last thing,
session.
ma'am. There is some communication, I think. So I'm not teaching school, ma'am. I'm teaching in
Oh,
the
okay.
college. Is there any website for them, ma'am? Like for UG students?
Yeah, you can check brahat.com. Brihat.
Okay. Okay.
I'll show you that website in tomorrow's session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
Yeah,
ma'am.
but Shweta ji, even if you're teaching in UG, you
Hmm.
can use Sahapedia. Very
Hmm.
good
Yes.
resource.
It
So
looks like, ma'am. Those workshops online, ma'am, or offline completely?
it depends. I think
Hmm.
nowadays lot of things are happening online, but off and on we also have some in-person workshops.
Yes.
So if you
Thank
keep checking their work,
you.
you will understand that
Hmm.
they're also doing some in-person programs, and always
Hmm.
good to attend in-person programs.
Yes. And Swayam, ma'am, it's nice to talk to you and being interactive with you, and nice stories, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you,
great, great
Shwetaji. Thank you,
knowledge.
Shwetaji. Thank you, Nidhi ma'am.
Thank you. Lord Jagannath is calling me. I'm very, very sure. I will
Yeah,
soon be
yes,
visiting
ma'am.
Lord Jagannath.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
You're
you.
always
And
welcome. Yeah.
thank you
Even
so much.
Annapurna Devi will be calling later, ma'am, for food.
I was in Telangana in the month of February.
Oh, nice, ma'am. If you come, we'll meet, ma'am. Like
Sure, sure.
Hyderabad area. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was in Hyderabad for 5 days.
Oh, nice, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes.
great. So thank you so much, and tons of thanks to Zelam. She has been my saving grace and my savior for both my exams, managing the chat box, adding her insights and adding her perspectives. So much of knowledge she has shared through the chat box. Thank you so much, Zelam. Thank you for being handy again. And she will be having the last word on 27th, with the last session being facilitated by her. Great. So let's
Yeah.
close. Thank you, everyone.